Yeah, I finished Amphibia, and it was a good show. So I guess starting off, just in the event of spoilers, I will say that if you started Amphibia and you weren't a super big fan of the episodic stuff, I think this season really brings certain things together in good ways, like episodes that definitely seemed like, oh, one off, or oh, this will never come up again. And there are still episodes that did not come up again, really, or at least side character stuff, but I was surprised at how much use they got out of a lot of the characters that only appeared a couple times, or whole little bits that turned out to be way more important than I would have thought watching the episode the first time. To give a quick general thought, the show is just, it's solidly made and put together. It's a pretty tight experience. And it was good. So yeah, getting into spoilers proper. Obviously the big thing is that this season started off with the frogs on Earth, and that was fun. There was a bunch of new characters. Anne's family, the parents, they're good. They were fun, and dad, dumb dad trope, whatever. But I like the mom at least. Well, I like the dad, but it's just a little I just yeah. As I was thinking about him, I'm just yeah, I'm a little tired of that trope, but I still didn't mind him. And he just got bullied sometimes, which is okay. I mean, I thought it was funny, but also but yeah, I guess the biggest thing I got out of the Earth stuff, I mean, aside from just enjoying it, was the community aspect to it, that where you had the frogs, the planters assimilating with Earth's community in a sense, or the Thai family, and this big and then all these other groups that come into contact with them, and yeah, it was nice, and of course everyone came together at the end. And honestly, I just like fish out of water stuff, or frog out of well in this case, where just the way the planters would interact with just oh, our world's a death world. What how dangerous could your planet be? And then they're just risking getting caught in escalators and just walking into traffic, and seeing it framed in a different way. There's so much danger in our world that we're cars are a great example, and I do think of them as as hey, this is dangerous if someone fucks up, but we teach our kids, and we everyone needs a license. We're very careful about it, relatively speaking. Where so putting these characters who don't know any of that shit, yeah. Or I remember when Sprig was just microwaving shit, and then he put the phone in, and Anne's wait, no, and that's it. Just a really quick gag. This show's just funny. I think the biggest laugh I got out of the season was, I think, when Mr. X first saw the planters, and it zooms in on them, and then suddenly they look more like hyper-realistic frogs. And they look horrifying. And it's so fucking funny. Oh my god. But yeah, I enjoyed the season, but I think it really clicked into place with me with the King and the Core, where we get the Andreas flashback with Leaf and Beryl, and just oh, he used to have friends, and they keep saying that he was definitely in love with Leaf. Come on. He even says when he grieves after he finds out, gets the letter, he's he's my friend, and I was just come on. But that episode had him caving to the pressure from the Core and his father, sort of seeking validation, and choosing his blood and lineage, and this idea, the conquering kingdom over his community or friendship, the non-blood community, Anne had with the planters, and how the fuck did I forget the name of the town? Whatever. And then the planters with the Earth community. Honestly, Andreas got so much good stuff this season. He's yeah, I ended up really liking him. They spelled out how he and Anne contrast each other, with neither of them liking themselves and seeking outside validation. Well, actually, that was the connection I made, is that they sought outside validation, where Anne with Sasha in the beginning, that she had to once she had the planters and had a good relationship, she was able to sort of surpass that need, for where Andreas kind of only got that at the end, because he was constantly looking for, to make his father proud. And, he closed himself off and never made any more connections, where Anne opened up, and, they just had a really good contrast, and, Andreas's redemption was nice. And, he's not the character I like the most, but he's probably the most interesting one, or at least, the most relatively, like, complex one in the show, I guess. If I'm trying, maybe that's not the right word, but hopefully that makes sense. But yeah, especially once they got to Amphibia, you got all the characters returning, like the fucking mushroom, that one scumbag con artist guy, the candy salesman or something. Just and yeah, like this. Then the fucking finale, the last 2 episodes, like I told you, like I said, it clicked into place with the King and the Core. But, like, the 2-part, or the last 2 episodes, which, like, the first one is like, okay, this is like a show that's normally divided into 11-minute chunks. And then it's like, okay, but we're gonna give you a full 43-minute episode. Just one episode. And it's like, okay, thanks. Okay, and the last episode is also 30 minutes, and I was like, fuck. Because I was gonna watch other things that day, but instead I just finished Amphibia, and I was like, well, it was worth it. But I was gonna do other stuff. And, like, just all the arcs coming together, the fucking, like, it's just a straight action show at this point. I do appreciate how just blatantly, like, anime inspired and influenced it is. Like, I love I got a screenshot because it was funny, but when she was, like, researching into other worlds on Earth, and there's just, like, a big, like, isekai, how to, avoid writing mistakes when writing your first isekai or something like that. And just, there's been anime references to the beginning, like I remember the Akira slide and, the Getter Robo Veggie robot. But then this season it had, even aside from reference, like, when they found out the prophecy, Sasha's like, oh, are Marcy and I gonna get cool anime powers? And Mother Olim's like, yes, you're gonna get cool anime powers. Like, they just straight up fucking say it, right? And then, and yeah, I guess, like, just the fact that it's dealing with, like, relatively heavier themes with, like, fucking the Newtopia is a fascist imperial power that constantly invades others for resources, which will also somehow lead to its own destruction. No, you're not supposed to think about climate change at all or anything, or, no, don't think about that. Just being able to be targeted at kids but not condescend to them and explore stuff like this is, it's really good. And, and yeah, like I said, the finale was just super fucking cool. And, lots of cool moments. Anne's fight with Andreas, when they all got anime powers at the end. And, oh yeah, the planters, sort of like overcoming their trauma with the herons that killed, Sprig and Polly's mom and dad. And then, but like, they did it to prevent Anne from also losing her parents, and they did so with that fucking dance that was like our ancestral dance, and that like, like that whole episode was the whole thing with Anne dismissing it, and then it turned out to be like, oh, it actually mesmerizes the creatures, and because it was, and then we see Leaf doing it, and it's because she's the ancestor, and it's like, motherfucker, you motherfuckers, but they used their family legacy. To, again, keep Anne from also becoming an orphan while also overcoming the trauma of what, like, remembering what they lost in a sense, like using something they learned from family to overcome the deaths of family, I guess is what I got from that. And yeah, also, there's also the accepting change thing of, versus the immortal core, that, is just trying to return to a status quo that is not good for anyone except for itself. And then the God of the Stones was also kind of fun. Like, I just love if you see my normal form, your mind will melt. And it's like, oh, it couldn't be that bad. And then it just like, it turns into like a bunch of light, like some kind of, biblical, one of the weird abstract angels. And it's just like screaming, and then it just comes back to normal like it never happened. But yeah, I liked Sasha and Anne and the planters. I like Marcy, but I'm not. Maybe I just have to think more about her character arc. Because she went into the fantasy world, which so she recognizes that she's in this fantasy and that she needs to get back to reality, and does so after Anne and Sasha don't actually like listen to me or like what I like, and so and I guess like that they did kind of drift apart after they left, because they didn't have, the most ideal friendship back before they went to Amphibia. But, yeah, I don't know. I just feel like maybe there's something I still need to piece together there. But, it didn't bother me anyway. And yeah, the ending was like, the time skips were good and cute. And, yeah, it felt like just it's a fun, wholesome show. And it's cool. And I liked it. And I'm glad I watched it. And that's all I have to say.